Hey guys, how's it going? Now today I have a very special video, and I can't believe I'm actually finally making this video. But today I'm going to give you my honest review on Final Fantasy 15. A game that I've been covering for 2 years at this point, on YouTube and elsewhere. And obviously I have been waiting, like most of us, for 10 years for this epic game to come out. Now, this isn't going to be like most professional reviews. It ain't going to be wonderfully edited or anything. I'm just going to ramble on for a little while about why I think Final Fantasy 15 is one of the best Final Fantasies ever created. And if not, one of the greatest games ever made. So, I'm going to talk about 5 things. The first thing will be gameplay, story, graphics, side quests, and game length. Now, this video is spoiler free, although there's a few things which I will talk about in terms of story. I won't be talking about the ending, I won't be talking about key scenes in the game, so don't worry about that. I'll just be giving you a spoiler free opinion on the story of the game. In terms of like the game length, that if you don't want to know how long the game will take for you to beat, if you're just playing it continuously, then don't listen to that bit. So, let's start with the first part, the gameplay. Now, the gameplay in Final Fantasy 15 had me concerned before release. I've made a couple of videos on it. I always felt that the gameplay felt clunky, or looked clunky, and just didn't look like a lot of fun. Well, now that I've pretty much played most of the game there, I think it's safe to say that the combat system came out pretty well. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's not the greatest combat system ever, but it's definitely not the worst. Sure, when you're fighting big enemies, it can be a pain. There's an example in a later chapter, which I won't reveal here, where you have to fight this boss, and it's quite a bit of a pain in the ass to kind of lock on and hit it while it's constantly moving. This is the same with smaller enemies. It can be annoying. Obviously, that's the whole point why wait mode is there for you, so you can use that to kind of slow down time, so you can pick off enemies in whatever manner you want. However, yeah, I do find combat to be a little bit too fast sometimes. I end up warp striking quite a lot of enemies, and sometimes I only use warp strike. And when you actually hold circle or press circle to hit an enemy, sometimes you don't know whether you're actually hitting them or not because things are getting too hectic. So in terms of combat, it's good. It's really good, but it's not perfect. It could be improved upon. It is miles better than what it was in Episode to Sky. Miles better. Like, the new format they've got is so much better than what they had. Now, in terms of exploration, the exploration aspect of Final Fantasy 15 is probably my favourite part of the game. Obviously, when you're driving your car, the Regalia, you can get out and then you can explore the massive open world before you get to that chapter when the game turns like massively linear. But the open world and the exploration aspect of the game is really good. Like, you could lose yourself for hours just wandering about this massive world. It is just so incredible. And the Regalia is also a very nice addition. However, I do feel like the car feels really bad in terms of controls. Now, I know obviously they're making it so you're stuck on the road and you can't go off-road in your car and stuff like that. But if you're doing the manual drive, so if you're driving the Noctis, then it's actually quite a pain to drive. But say if you need to like turn down or turn a right down this like really sharp road, then it's actually quite a hassle to do that, and sometimes you kind of just have to drive past a turn-in, do a U-turn and go back the other way. It is it can be a bit of a hassle, I won't lie, but the exploration is probably for me one of the best parts of the game. I think it's really good, honestly. I think it's really good. There are a few quick time sections in the game as well. I won't say what events these happen in because that'd be spoilers, obviously. The quick time events are okay. Nothing too spectacular. I feel a little bit 2010-ish, but you know, it's fine. It's whatever. Overall, the gameplay of Final Fantasy 15 is really good. For me, it tops like Final Fantasy 13. Well, I didn't really like the gameplay in that game at all. And before I move on, obviously the game is open world and it's not a linear sweatfest that Final Fantasy 13 was. It is fully open world, apart from the last few chapters where the game is like it puts you on a set path and you cannot leave that path. Overall, the open world is just a really nice addition. Although I feel like there's too much open world at times, but then like I said before, you can get lost in it and it's really good to just explore it. Now let's talk about the story. Now the story was the thing I was looking forward to most in Final Fantasy 15, because obviously for a long time I'd been looking into the lore and all the little details about the story of this game. However, I feel like this story misses a lot of big beats, like Lunafreya, or Luna, and Ravus. A lot of their story happens behind closed doors and you don't really get to see it much, and this is quite prevalent throughout the entire game. It's also a bit confusing if you haven't watched Kingsglaive and Brotherhood. For me personally, that was not an issue because I've already watched them. However, if you're a newcomer and you're just going into it, then it probably will be a bit jarring because you won't know who like King Regis is properly and all that. Even though they do show Kingsglaive clips throughout the story, it is a bit, it's not perfect. The story is not as good as I want it to be. Unfortunately, I got the story, or the end of the story, spoiled for me. Because some idiot decided to, because obviously I do Final Fantasy content and I've watched a lot of Final Fantasy 15 content, so then YouTube automatically puts recommended stuff, in my sidebar, and it happened to have the final boss and the ending, and I didn't watch it, but it had the name of who the final boss is and it ruined it for me personally. But I'm happy with some of the twists that happen in the game, but the story, it's a weird one. I can neither say it's great or whether it's bad. It's good. It's what I wanted, but at the same time, it really isn't. Now, moving on to graphics. The graphics in Final Fantasy 15, I'll just get this sorted now. The graphics are beautiful. This is probably one of the best looking games I have ever played and seen. Compared to Sky and the demos which I've played of Final Fantasy, like at Eurogamer, the graphics have been drastically improved. I mean, if you go and look at the pre-beta footage of this game, then you can see a massive difference right there. Just stuff from like the hair and on the models and stuff like that, and the draw distance. Sure, it's not perfect, and sure, the frame rate could be better, but overall, the game is just gorgeous to look at, and you can sometimes just stare at scenery, just taking it all in. It is such a beautiful game, and the open world, like I said, is really gorgeous to look at. Overall, like stuff like magic effects and stuff in combat, and obviously the way Noctis can just summon his weapons, the crystal effects and stuff like that, looks absolutely stunning. It doesn't look as nice as it did in the E3 2013 reveal trailer, but that was because the footage shown in that trailer was for prototyping purposes. Now, on to side quests. I ain't really got much to say about side quests, but I wanted to say there's a lot of them, for those wondering. There's a hell of a lot of them. I've done about 20 so far. They're okay, they're pretty generic though. They're your standard JRPG quests. Like, go there, kill this certain amount of enemies, do this, take this and deliver it over there. It's kind of that kind of stuff. Although it can be fun because Final Fantasy 15 is actually quite addictive. I ain't gonna lie there. Now, the final thing I'm gonna say is the game's length. The game, now remember, if you don't want to know how long this takes, then just leave the video now or skip ahead a little bit. The game, for me, took about 25 hours to beat. Yeah, 25 hours. That is just me continuously playing it. I got hooked on the story, so I couldn't help it. I really want just to push forward and get the story done, so then I don't have to like hide on the internet anymore from spoilers. If you was to do everything else like I am now, like the side quests and the grinding, so you get like your max level and getting all the royal like weapons and stuff like that, then you're looking at over 100 hours of gameplay in this game. Compared to like World of Final Fantasy, that's nothing, but it's still a long game. It may be one of the shorter Final Fantasies, but what I did like is the fact that they've chosen quality over quantity, and I'm really happy about that. So that's it really, guys. That's all I've got to cover in this Final Fantasy 15 review. this is what I honestly think of the game. Overall, Final Fantasy 15 is what I wanted it to be. There's obviously a few mishaps here and there, but then that's to be expected with any game. Stuff like the story could have been massively improved for me personally. Maybe the game story could have been longer, but like I said, quality over quantity. Was it worth the 10-year wait? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It may not be the game we asked for back 10 years ago. Like, it may not be Nomura's vision of Final Fantasy versus 13 or 15. But it's still a really good game. And, you know, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, then you've got to play this game. If you're not a Final Fantasy fan and you're interested in picking it up, then I would. This is the perfect place to start. This game is really good for beginners of the series and those who have never even touched a Final Fantasy game. Like, even people, you know, who were never interested in Final Fantasy, who I know are actually quite interested in playing this game. But yeah, Final Fantasy 15 is a very, very good game. It is now up there with one of my favourite games of all time. I love it. I'm going to be playing it for a very long time. Yeah, it's just going to be good. And we've got the Season Pass coming out soon as well. Or the Season Pass DLC. All that stuff will probably come out next year. But that's it for now, guys. What did you think of Final Fantasy 15? Let me know your opinions in the comment section below. Please, no spoilers, not right now, just in case, because this review is meant for people that haven't bought the game yet, and obviously for those who are fans of me and want to hear my opinion. So no spoilers in the comment section. If there's any spoilers, then I will immediately delete the comment and ban you. So that's how strict I'm going to take this, because I can't stand it when people spoil the game. But that's it for now, guys. I shall chat to you all later on.